Walter State has several iPad carts where there are carts just completely filled with iPads, and the teachers can roll them into classrooms and in labs. I've used them in my biology lab. My education teacher right now has iPads, 6 or 7, that she brings in every class period for the students to use when we break into groups and put our projects together. You can rent iPads out of the library. There are several ways that you can get a hold of an iPad here at Walter State.
The first day of class, my instructor assigned each student an iPad. They were given the iPad for the year to use as they wanted in the class. You could use it as much as you wanted or as little as you wanted. I think a lot of people at the beginning of the class thought, well, I won't use this thing much. And come to the end of the class, everybody used them all the time, every day.
And it's interesting that the teachers allow the students to have access to these iPads and use them for not just studying or doing homework or accessing eLearn, but they allow them, give them certain time periods throughout the class to just learn how to work with them and learn how to use the apps that come on them. And
I've used my iPad in the class, utilize it, of course taking notes, but more than that, during class work when professors use apps like GoClass, calculator apps. In chemistry we use molecular apps. Biology, of course, we use like microscope apps. We use anatomical apps. We take our tests on the iPads over eLearn, which is fantastic. I mean, it's instantaneous. You know exactly how you did.
We were able to reference things that they were talking about. If they would talk about different court cases, we'd be able to look it up. Like the iPad is right there. We had Wi-Fi to connect to. We talked about 100 different cases, and if we weren't familiar with it, we were just able to Google it, figure out what was going on with it, and have discussions to partake in.
the whole class can interact in a class-wide poll. Questions asked, everybody types in, kind of like a Jeopardy thing, and I think that's really interesting. And homework, we can do homework in class on them and submit it through eLearn to the teachers, and it's pretty much, the teacher can give feedback on them back to back through the iPad usage from her computer at her desk to our iPad.
We would also use apps to make our own tests. As you see something important or listed, you make test questions, you make the answers, and you put it ABC format. The app made it beautiful to do that. So you use that as the study aid.
Most of the apps that we use are child-friendly, which means that the children can also interact with them, with the teachers and the teaching assistants in the classrooms.
All of our instructors put all of our PowerPoints, all of our lessons, all of our tests on there. So instead of having the three-inch binders to carry around every day, we got to carry around the iPad. It was much lighter. And we could find things easier. We could actually search for things. So
in the paramedic program, there's lots of drugs to learn. I'll just use drugs as an example. If you have a few hundred drugs you need to memorize and learn and have to have the indications, contraindications, dosages. The iPad was great for that because we were separated into groups. So say we had 6 groups, 5 people a group, and you had 200 drugs to learn. We could break that group up, pull an app down from the iTunes store that would let us do flashcards. So each person would be assigned 50 flashcards to do, which is not overwhelming. 300, pretty overwhelming. That app would let us join them together and distribute them to everybody. So all of a sudden, which is a week-long project, became a night project. It's done. You can start learning it.
In my education class, we used the iPad to put together a project in which we're going to teach almost like a lesson plan for perspective taking for our education class, and we're going to present that to the classroom using the iPad over the projectors.
In biology, we can use microscope-compatible apps, and basically it takes a wireless Wi-Fi microscope and projects that image to all of our iPads. So, instead of, everybody having 32 wireless microscopes, there's just one, and we can all see exactly what the professor wants us to look at versus not being able to find it.
When the university and the faculty ends up with the iPad, they're motivated to come up with different ways to use it to teach. Rather than just an instructor getting up and going through PowerPoints and lecturing, they have this device that they can use videos. You can record the sound of the lecture if you want to go back. They have interactive stuff. They have the multimedia they can use. They can use the iPad to help each different type of learning a student does. They can make it almost individual for each student.
Using the iPad, I'll be able to make all my lesson plans, worksheets, everything on the Apple iPad, and then take it into the classroom with me. And instead of having a whole file full of worksheets, I can just have my iPad with however many worksheets I need on them, and then print those off for the students to have. It'll cut down tremendously on the amount of paperwork that I'll have to do.
I definitely see a major difference in using a mobile device for basically everything you need to do in a school setting versus pencil, paper, binder, notebook type approach.
Using the iPads it's more hands-on now. Before it was just textbooks, paper, pencil, and just an at-home computer, laptop. Now I have more access to the internet anywhere I want to within the school, and it's a lot quicker, it's a lot more convenient, and I think it's a lot more fun. The interaction you get with them is really interesting.
On the iPad, we also watch different videos. We were shown a lot of different videos, survival skills, what not to do, what to do. All those videos we were able to watch on there, which we wouldn't have been able to do with our binders. And we were able to do a lot of things outside because we got to keep them with us in our dorm rooms. So we were able to research things outside of the classroom as well as inside.
It was always the go-to thing. Let me look it up. I can access it quick. I need to find out what the dose medication for this patient is right now. I need to do it, and I could scroll down, hit the protocol for that city, and there it was. I wasn't sitting there in the protocol book, which you carry, and trying to flip through and find it. I could search it, find it, use it, and that's what made it great.